Breaux is one of the most respected people ever to serve in Congress. As a senator for the past 18 years, he has worked tirelessly to bring people together for compromise and conciliation, avoiding the rancor that so often engulfs politics. First elected to the House of Representatives in 1972, he was the youngest member of that body at the time, but his stature grew over 14 years before running for the Senate, where he served as the ranking member of the Finance Committee.
Had the slogan, I remember back then when I was 28, when I was running for Congress for the first time, my slogan was, "Experience makes the difference." Most of the people that I was running against were old enough to be my grandfather or grandparent, certainly old enough to be my parents, and yet I had the audacity to print the slogan on the bumper stickers that experience makes the difference. And of course it aggravated the heck out of all the people I was running against, because they said, how dare someone 28 years old talk about experience making the difference? He has none. Well, I was the only person that was running that had ever worked in a congressional office in Washington. I was the only person who had ever run a congressional office in the district, and I was the only lawyer that was running. I told the people in that first race that we were electing someone to go to Washington and to make laws, and I was the only lawyer running. Therefore, they should vote for me. That went over fairly well for a period of time until all of my opponents realized that 98% of the people in the district were not lawyers, and about 100% of them hated lawyers. So as soon as they started articulating that different viewpoint on the function of lawyers, I started going down in the polls, and thank goodness the election was only a couple of weeks left. And I came up, and I always remember this, when we left Louisiana, my two sons really didn't want to go. My youngest son, the night before we left, he's saying his prayers. He said, "Goodbye, God, we're moving to Washington."
Throughout his time in the House and Senate, John Breaux has been respected by leaders of both parties and became popular with the media for his engaging and fun-loving personality.
I think it's fair to say that Senator Breaux likes being captain of the crew.
He's the biggest vote-getter I've ever seen. So I've tried the same thing in a Mardi Gras parade in Vermont. Now the difference was it was snowing, it was wet, but I was wearing a costume that John Breaux gave me.
Happy Mardi Gras! He's a typical guy from Crowley, Louisiana. It's very easy to underestimate him. You think this is just a, let the good times roll Joe from Louisiana, not real serious, and loves to have a good time and party and all that. And that's how he catches people by surprise, because behind that smile and that good time Joe is a very sharp mind.
Been the most successful and popular politician in my state, easy, in my lifetime.
I remember when I was in the House, I served on the Public Works Committee with Bella Abzug, who everybody at the time thought was probably the most liberal woman in the Congress and liberal person in the Congress, really. And I remember Bella Abzug telling me one time, she said, where I come from in my congressional district, they think I'm too conservative because she had a type of district that really helped her and encouraged her and pushed her into representing the people as they thought that they wanted to be represented in the Congress of the United States. So if you understand where people come from and you understand their backgrounds and who they represent, the states that we all try to represent, I think it helps us understand how people of different positions can be friends, because they're truly trying to represent their states the best that they possibly can, and it's not just because of the politics, but because of where they are from. I've always felt that if you only listen to yourself, you're only going to hear an echo of yourself speaking, and you're never going to disagree. And that's why it's so important to hear the other side. Listen to what the other side has to say. Understand what they say. You don't have to agree with them, but I think you are a better person if you understand, and your position becomes stronger if you know what the other side is going to argue. And it makes your position better and stronger. But you also, I think, must realize, I think that neither party has a monopoly on the truth. Both sides have good ideas. The real answer to this body and to the House and to democracies everywhere is trying to take the best of what both sides can offer and blend them into a package which simply makes government work for all of us. People back home are not so much concerned about who wins and who loses as they are about whether we're getting the job done. Congress does not have to be like a Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl, you have to have one team that's going to win and one team that's going to lose. And if there's a tie, they have a playoff and go into overtime until one team wins and one team loses. There's nothing wrong with the Congress trying to find ways to reach agreement and blending the best from both sides and coming up with something so that everybody wins. And then we can argue and then we can fight over which team won. I'll go back to Louisiana and tell them, look what I did. Somebody from Texas or Illinois wants to go back to their state and say, look what I did. That's fine, because at least we'd be arguing about success and not debating over failure and whose fault it was that we didn't get anything done. The American people would be so much better served if the debate here could really be a debate about how we accomplished something as opposed to why we didn't get anything done.
Now retired from the Senate, John Breaux regularly shares his thoughts on politics and contemporary issues with audiences across the country. For more information on John Breaux, please contact leading authorities.